Kuna Academy presents the Chi of Life program, A Way to Your Health and Happiness, created by Samer Hassan. What is the Chi of Life? The Chi of Life simply is the art of regulating the energy flow of everything you experience with the purpose of promoting your health and happiness. What does that mean, really? Everything you experience in your life, you experience it through the process of thinking, you feel things, you sense things, and you relate to people and interact with friends, family, colleagues, loved ones, etc., etc. The Chi of Life is about creating balance in the interactions between you and your mind, heart, and body, and between you and others. And this is what we call regulating the energy flow of your life. Life is challenging, monotone and boring, the majority of the time, or at least sometimes. We are living behind a screen almost 10 hours of our day behind the screen. Can you imagine that? If it's your phone, computer, or TV, or iPad, or whatever is coming next. Either we are running from something or running behind something. Everything is too fast to enjoy or even notice. Nobody is truly listening. We became very good at acting that we are to listen, but in reality, we are not truly listening. And in return, nobody is truly listening to us. I'm sure that if I will ask you to add more challenges, the list will be very long. And I'm also sure, after working with hundreds and hundreds of people through the Chi of Life program, that we will all agree on the fact that life is challenging. The problem was better summarized by Hugh Mackay. I will quote him when he said, "Nothing is perfect, life is messy, relationships are complex, outcomes are uncertain, and people are irrational." Hugh Mackay is an Australian psychologist, sociologist, and social researcher. I find that with this statement of his, he captured the problem that we are living, the challenges that we are facing in life. Of course, it's not about being negative and looking at life with dark glasses, but to be able to move forward, to be able to develop yourself and overcome your challenges, you always need to be true with yourself, to be real with yourself, to understand where are you standing. And the fact is, yes, life is messy and challenging. So the question is, how can we not only survive, but thrive within such mess? Whatever the challenges of life that we are having, how can we thrive within that? According to Albert Einstein, the best way for us to thrive, the best way for us to overcome the messiness and challenges of our life is to change our way of thinking. He captured this in his statement. We cannot solve problems by using the same kind of thinking we used when we created them. So, according to Albert Einstein, everything is within the kind of thinking. Change that, you will solve your problems. I completely agree with what he's saying, but at the same time, I have to say that what he's saying is almost impossible, because it is extremely difficult to change your entire process of thinking. There is an infinite number of variables that you need to tweak and change to be able to change your way of thinking. There must be a more practical and simpler way that we can embrace and engage that will allow us to eventually change our way of thinking and eventually solve a problem. But it is a simpler and more basic way that will help us. What is like the best solutions are always the simplest ones. To better introduce to you the simpler and more practical solution that will help us navigate the messiness of life and thrive, not only survive, I would like you to engage with me this experiment. We have a small problem in this experiment that we would like to solve. The problem is to find the 5 sounds. One of these sounds are the music in the back that you will be hearing in the background of this audio file. There will be a piece of music with piano and other instruments. Please count this piece as one sound. There are other sound effects that I would like you to find. So let's listen together. So, ask yourself, how many sounds did you find? Try to name them. Now we will try again, just in case you did not find all the sounds, so you'll be able to find the other sounds that you missed. So I would like you now to relax, breathe deeply, and listen attentively. One more time. So, how was your second attempt? Did you manage to find all the sounds? Write them down. Fantastic. Now, if you manage to find the 5 sounds from your first attempt, commend yourself. You did a great job. If you did not manage to do it at the first attempt and you managed to do it by the second attempt, ask yourself, what allowed you, what helped you to find the 5 sounds? What did you do differently that allowed you to find the sounds in your second attempt? How could you find the sounds? You focused more. What does that mean? To be able to empty your mind. Of course, relatively. We will never completely empty our mind. which means to stop your mind momentarily from taking the lead. You see, if you are more thinking about the results and thinking about more presumptive, you are presuming things. So you will end up very keen of listening to the extent that you can imagine noises that doesn't exist. Or you can focus with something completely different because simply your mind is too occupied with expectations and anticipation. So to stop your mind momentarily from taking the lead, that means to be present with an empty mind that is cleared from anticipations and expectations. Just be there. When you be able to do that, only then you will allow your sensory organ, your ears, to take the lead. So you will not be able to listen to what's truly happening unless you will stop your mind from dragging you to the past or the future, to the past judgments or the future expectations and anticipation. Now to our next experiment. The problem this time is visual, so I would like you to identify the differences between these two pictures. Are you ready? So, did you manage to find all the differences? Good for you. How long did it take you? Did it take you longer than you would like? Of course, like all of us, would you like to be able to notice the differences faster? Because that means that you will react faster. That means that you'll be able to solve problems faster, which will allow you not only to survive, but to thrive, right? So if you manage to see all of them, how did you do that? As we did in the last experiment, this is what you did. You focused more, which means that you relatively emptied your mind, which means that you stopped your mind from taking the lead, as usual, focusing with your mind on the expectations and anticipation. For example, that before actually looking at the details, you are worried that you will not be able to see all of them. So you become too tense, which will force you to skip some of the details at the end. And this is what happens when the mind takes the lead. But you stopped it. Good for you. When you stopped your mind, what happened? You allowed your eyes, a sensory organ, to take the lead. This entire process, what would we call this process? Would we call this process thinking? No. This process is called sensing. It is not thinking. So, you sensed with your eyes first, you received the information with the sensory organ first, then you processed it with your mind. So, what is the conclusion of these two experiments? The conclusion is, to solve a problem, you need to sense more. As more sensing you will be able to do, as more information you will receive from your present experience. Influenced and inspired by Albert Einstein, I captured the solution from my point of view, of course, from my perspective, and as a result of my work, in this statement. We cannot solve problems by using the same level of sensing that we used when we were creating them. So it's all about the level of sensing. As more we sense, as more we are present, as more we are focused, as more you sense your experience, as more information you are absorbing, as more information you have about the experience or about the problem, as easier you will be able to solve it. So let's challenge this. Let's challenge this concept. Find me a problem that cannot be solved or at least improved with a higher level of sensing, and share it with me. Send it to me by email or add a comment on this page, and I will gladly respond to you. But for now, I will share with you one of the questions or one of the challenges that kept coming up with my students, which is in relationship. One of my students asked me, I'm having difficulty with my wife. I cannot properly relate to her and we always have frictions between us. How sensing will change anything? And the simple response was, if you heightened your ability to sense, if you allowed your mind to stop a bit and focus all your senses on listening to her verbally and non-verbally, you will be better informed about her needs, about her challenges, about her messages. And this kind of information will help you and enable you to give the right responses, to aid her, or even to create a healthier boundary between both of you. And that's an example of how a better sensational ability, or better way, as more you increase your ability to sense your experience, as more you will be able to solve problems and overcome challenges. So we keep talking about sensing. So what is the parts of our body, the parts of our being that we use to be able to sense? So I will not take you into too many details. The only thing that I would like you to know, what is the neural sensory system? So what do you use to sense? So you have a sensory cortex, which is part of your brain that is responsible to receive the information from the main 5 senses. So your visual, your hearing, your taste, your touch. And then there is the somatosensory cortex. The somatosensory cortex is more responsible to receive the information from your physical receptors, the sensory receptors, which within each and every part of your body, there are small receptors that allow you to absorb and sense everything within your experience. Energy, light, heat, smell, to sense if you are relaxed or not, to sense the air around you, humidity, to sense your own emotions, to sense if you are feeling good or bad, to sense if you are in pain, to sense a vibration, to sense comfort and discomfort. So all of these sensations, the tool to tap into it, to tap into all of these energy and information, is your neural sensory system. The Chi of Life cycle is the main process that will help you regulate the energy flow of your mind, heart, body, and relationships. Everything starts with a mental state, and the usual mental state that we are in is this kind of a messy mind. So if I will ask you, what is more usual for you? That your mind is filled with thoughts and thinking about future, past, and so on and so on, or an empty, grounded, relaxed mind? The majority of us have a very messy mind, at least the majority of the time, if it's not all the time. For example, you are engaging in a conversation with somebody and you are not truly focusing with whatever that person is saying, but your mind is drifting towards what you want that person to say, or how unjust that person towards you, or how much that person is not understanding you. All of these thoughts are not actually in the present. It's your mind drifting into the past and the future, into a judgment, expectations, presumptions, and so on, and aspirations, and so on and so on. So this is what I call the messy mind, a mind that is filled with the past and the future, a past and future centered mind, which is a mind that is extremely far from being grounded in the now, from being present. Presence is the second part of the Tree of Life cycle. So after acknowledging our messy mind, we make an effort to be more present, which means to relatively empty my mind from the past and the future with all the related thoughts to the past and the future, which means less judgment, less aspirations and expectations, and to be more focused on what's happening in the now. Awareness is the third stage of the Tree of Life cycle. After I managed to relatively empty my mind in the second stage, presence, now I start becoming more aware to my sensations and emotions. You see, everything you are experiencing in your life, if it's internally or externally, if it's something that you are thinking about, or something that you are interacting with, a person or in nature, there will always be a result of this interaction. This result is sensations and emotions. And every sensation and emotion has the yin and the yang, which means the light and the shadow. Like you will have a heavy emotion, or what you may call it sometimes a negative emotion, or you may have a positive emotion, depending on the situation, depending on who are you interacting with, depending on what are you thinking about. So the stage of awareness is to be able to become more aware of your sensations and emotions that is triggered by the present moment. So what I care about is to be present in the now, and then whatever is happening in the now will trigger sensations and emotions. I need to be aware of that. And this is the awareness stage. Balance, the last stage of the Tree of Life cycle. So, in the awareness stage, you were absorbing sensations and emotions. So, you have an empty mind, you are present, you are interacting with a person or interacting with a situation or something. This situation or this person triggered some sensations and emotions inside of you. The stage of balance, the last stage, is about expressing the result of what you absorbed. So I felt something and sensed something. How did I express it? If it's verbally or non-verbally. So, as you see, in the Tree of Life symbol, the black circle is about the mind, It's a symbol for the mind. The green yin and yang symbol is about the sensations and emotions that you are aware of. The tree is about your expression. You sharing the result, or even choosing not to share the results of what you sensed and felt. And sharing here, it is verbal and non-verbal. So you have an emotion, even if you will not say anything about it, it will show in your face, it will show in your movement. So, the stage of balance is to be able to obtain balance by expressing myself. And to learn to express any emotion and sensation that I have, non-verbally for sure, and verbally when I can. And that is the infinite Chi of life cycle. It's infinite because it keeps going on and on and on. And at the end, it will impact each and every part of your life. So, just as a reminder, the Chi of life cycle starts by acknowledging the messiness of your mind. Acknowledging that your mind always drifts towards expectations and presumptions too fast and too much. Acknowledging that your mind drifts to the past and you judge others and judge yourself or feel judged by others all the time. Once you manage to acknowledge that, the second step, presence. To be able to calm your mind, let go the past and the future, and stay in the present moment. Presence. Third step, awareness. To allow your mind to become more aware, to train your mind to become more aware of your sensations and emotions. Good or bad, heavy and light. Be able to be okay with sadness as happiness. To experience them both. To be able to be okay with sensing comfort and discomfort within your body. This is what will allow you to be anchored in the present moment and will help you to be better informed of your surroundings. Last stage is balance. What will allow you to have, what will enable you to have a balanced mind is when you allow yourself to express the results of what you absorbed. So you are in a situation, the situation triggered sensations and emotions within you. These sensations and emotions need to be expressed non-verbally and verbally. Some of us will have reservations in expressing it verbally. It is okay. Just know that you like it. If you like it or not, it will show non-verbally on your body language, on your physical sensations, on the way that you walk, the way that you talk, the way that you breathe, the way that you look. So as more you will be able to apply this cycle in everything in your life, as more you will reach the state of balance within the Chi of life that the Chi of life is offering you. The main objective of the Chi of life program is to help you apply the Chi of life cycle first within yourself, emotionally, physically, and also intellectually. So how to be able to regulate the energy of your body, the energy of your heart, and the energy of your mind. And second, your relationships. How to be able to access a better relationships by learning how to profoundly listen and how to profoundly express yourself. So profound listening and profound expression are two capacities within a conversation, and the conversation is the core of any relationship. Conversation is the core of communication. Communication is the core of a relationship. If you will be able to regulate your ability to listen using the Chi of Life cycle, and your ability to express yourself using the Chi of Life cycle, at the end you will be able to boost your relationships and regulate the energy flow between you and others.